Assalamu alaikum, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the most must-see podcast in the NJSSL. Welcome to The Cutting Redge. I am here joined today by our guest, a longtime member of the Cutting Redge as a guest, and a longtime member of the NJSSL since its inception. He's representing probably one of the worst teams in NJSSL history, wearing his Michigan State T-shirt. But please welcome Haider Abbas. Haider, how's it going, bud?
Yeah, it's going good. Always a pleasure to be on the podcast. Can't wait.
Yeah, good. Well, we're happy to have you. That's for sure. This past week, I mean, it's been a couple of weeks since this past week. But this past week we had the pleasure of seeing three teams go 3-0, and I think we've got four teams that are 0-3. Why don't you run through the standings if you have them open and tell us where things are looking right now here in the NJSSL?
So, standing at number one with a record of 3-0, Aligned Elite. Last week or 2 weeks ago, they got an impressive win, which we'll talk about later. Number two is 3-0 as well, Sabr Zainab. Number three, also 3-0, Shujaat Ali Asghar. At number four, my team, 2-1, with the best plus
Joe's ball.
minus in the league, just by a huff. Number 5 at 2-1, Sadiq Scholars. Number 6 at 2-1, Abbas Alamdars. Number 7 at 2-1, Nojawans. At number 8, the losing records begin at 1-2, Commanders of Mujtaba. At number 9, 0-3, Mehdi's Mercenaries. Number 10, 0-3, Guardians of Fada. Number 11, also 0-3, Aqidat-e-Muslim, and at 12, with also a record of 0-3, Velayat Warriors.
All right. Well, first things first. Let's talk about the fact that we've got three 3-0 teams: the Enlightened Elite, Sabra Zainab, and Shujaat El Yazgar, of which I think we were maybe both on the same page of Shujaat El Yazgar and Sabra Zainab having strong seasons, and the Enlightened Elite having strong seasons. But Enlightened Elite just won a game without Sharuk, and they won it against, at the time, also 2-0 Najans, I believe it was. What were your thoughts? What are your thoughts on these 3-0 teams, and who do you think is the best one right now?
Well, Allied Elite is the best. You saw what they're capable of with Shark and without. I think that of the 3-0 teams, I believe that Sabr Zainab is Bobby's team, correct?
Yes, and then
And then
Shajat Ilyasgar is Ahmed Ali and
mid.
his.
Yeah, so I think the top two teams are the top two best in the league. And that number three, I think Shujaat Ali Asghar they're 3-0, but they have a little bit more to prove in my opinion, because when we played them week one without ZJ, we only lost by 2. So they're gonna be a good team, but I think they have to prove more to me.
Interesting. I mean, one of their wins, I think they only had 5 guys on the court, and they throughout the entire game. One of those 5 guys was Big Shabir Naqvi, who he's not as big as he once was used to be, but he's still 48 minutes for Shabir Naqvi is impressive.
That is impressive.
But that's okay. I mean, yeah, I think I agree. I think Sabra Zainab definitely tricked the world when they said that Abbas, Heather, and Pete and Morez were not going to be there for half the season. So far, they've both been there for every game. So
Well, on the sheet that they sent out for the signups, it did say they're missing 4 or 5 weeks. Now I don't know when those weeks are starting. I believe it's
mhm.
probably going to be soon, but we'll see.
I know Morez is missing this upcoming week, so we'll see how it goes without him. Now kind of moving. Now let's move to the opposite end of the spectrum. The 0-3 teams, 4 of them. Amongst them, the Guardians of Fadak and Mehdi's Mercenaries are both teams I had in like my top 5. What were your thoughts on the current 0-3 teams?
So whose teams are Mehdi's Mercenaries
Yeah,
and Guardians of Fadak?
so Mehdi's Mercenaries is Mudassir, Professor, Thorab, their team, and then Guardians of Fadak is Zanpai, Saad, who else there? Sajjad Al Casey, those guys. I mean, granted, for the first 2 weeks, Sajjad Al Casey wasn't there. The first week, Saad wasn't there. So I think those and the games I think they lost outside of that first game were like it one in overtime, and the other one was by like 2 points. So I mean,
So Mudassir's team, I'm not surprised that they're 0-3. I didn't like their team in the beginning, right after the draft. But yeah, like you said, Gardens of Fadak, I'm pretty surprised by. But like you said, they haven't had a full team really.
Yeah.
I think their Guardians of Fadak will definitely bounce back and start to get on the winning streak. I think I see some similarities with this team and the Clippers from what was it last season, where they
Mm-hmm.
start off slow, but I think they're gonna end up kicking it up and getting to the playoffs and maybe making a run.
Yeah, that's definitely possible. Are you shocked at all at struggling the struggles of Aqidat Muslim, which is like On Merchant, Asad Merchant, Faisal, and the Velayat Warriors, which is Syed Ali, Mazahir, and that team.
I'm not surprised of the struggles from Faisal's team, although I am surprised
Faisal's
about
playing like garbage this year. Let's point that out. Like he
that.
literally.
That's what I'm saying. It's a huge surprise. Faisal hasn't played his best ball. I did hear though he played a lot better the past week, the 2 weeks ago, compared to
That's
the
fair.
first 2 weeks where he did not. It wasn't the same Faisal we are known to
Used to.
see. And then Mazahar Bai's team, I mean, I think it's kind of getting exposed how we said me, you, and Saleh talked about how they don't have that true number one. It's their who is it? Fitris, Sayed Ali, and Mazahar Bai. They're all kind of like you take over. No, no, you like they don't have that alpha on their team. I think that's showing.
Yeah. No, I think you're definitely right about that. And I don't know. I think for both of those teams, the way it looks, they're going to continue to have some struggles. I think maybe these Mercenaries and Guardians, I think they are going to figure out their game plan and kind of get a few wins racked up, put themselves in playoff contention. I don't see either of those things. I don't see playoff contention as a possibility for the Vilayet Warriors or the.
I will say this about Mehdi's Mercenaries. The one thing I like about this team, they don't give up. I
Mm,
don't know about the 30. I've watched two of their games. In both of those games, they go down early and by good amount, but they always come back to make it a game. So that is the one thing I like about Mehdi Mercenaries. They always stick together and they can make the playoffs if they can figure out how to start games better. So it's going to be interesting to see if they can figure that out, figure out their proper rotation, just get that chemistry going.
may only be a matter of time. May only be a matter of time, and who knows? We'll see how the venue change plays a role also in these things, as all the rest of the games are going to be at Iron Peak. Well, I think with that being said, let's recap some of the games from this past from week 3 and see how things looked and see how it might show the future. So I guess the first one we can talk about is actually Shujaat Al Azhar against Aqidat Muslim. We have a final score here of 68-64. So it was a pretty close game. Did you get a chance to watch this at all?
No, I didn't. I think I was playing while this game was going on, or maybe I was reffing. Yeah, I think I was reffing while this game, so I didn't really watch much of this game.
That's fair. That's fair. Well, let me give you some stats, and we can kind of go from there. So the big thing is Sayed Daniel. He's definitely showing some improvement. 5 of 12. He, I think, actually led his team in 2 pointers. Ahmed Ali, of course, led his team in points with, I think, a grand total for him of 26 points. And then 14 points from Syed Daniel, and Miz with 13 right behind him. So those were kind of the main guys. On top of that, Ahmed Ali also had 11 rebounds, 4 assists, and 6 steals. So he's definitely making a name for himself as a potential MVP of the year. Meanwhile, on the other hand, it looks like for Aqidat Muslim, let's see what's happening here. Like I said, Faisal Ali definitely played better. He was 6 of 11 from three, 2 of 4 from two. He had some excellent help in Mustafa Raza, who finally did something. 5 of 9 from two. He had also helped on Merchant, who went 5 of 7. So they definitely, this is probably their best game to date. Still end up losing to again a team that had 5 guys. It looks like, yeah, 5 guys. And amongst them, I think Trevor Inukwe again. Oh, maybe they had 6 guys. Okay. Well, either way, so it was a tight game. It was close. Um, the Akita the Muslim definitely played their best game of the season, and it must have been a heartbreaking loss for them. But what are kind of your thoughts on this team hearing those stats?
I like what I see from Midge, from Miz, from Shujaat Ali Asghar. I feel like every season so far he's been in basketball, he's been like a fourth, fifth option type of guy, and now it's like he's that third guy on the team with him and Daniel, kind of switching. Even against us, I believe he had double-digit points. So I like what I'm seeing from Miz this season. Daniel has stepped up huge, and AA is just doing AA things. Last season he won Depoy, and then he's already won Opoy, so he's coming after that
Gun for the
MVP.
MVP. I
He
mean,
wants
it's
it.
impressive. I feel like each year or each season, I see AA getting better and better, or like not even getting better, but like being more and more well rounded. Like
Hmm.
this season in particular, like I feel like every game I've seen of his, he is putting less pressure on himself to be the top guy, and he's definitely like getting the rest of his team involved a lot more. And this is the team right now that's making it happen.
Yeah. And then as far as Vessel's team, I just think that, like you said, this is their best game. Um, maybe this was the game that they got that chemistry and understanding of how to play with each other, and maybe this week is where they finally make that run and start putting some games together and winning some games.
Very possible, and now that they don't have to travel like almost an hour to get to CJB, that might be also key for them as well.
Maybe.
Um, Moving on to the next game, we've got Juzbai Huck and the Abbas Alamdars. So this was your team's game. So while I pull up some stats, why don't you tell me about how you thought this game went?
The morning of, I decided to watch the podcast. I just skipped straight through what you and HK said about this game, and I was like, all right, bet. So, when we went in, we just went with our game plan, what we were going to do, which was just outrun every team that we come up against, and that's what we did. I just think that we right out of the gate, I think it was like 8-0, 10-0, and we just didn't look back. I think that we just once we the thing with this team is I know everyone kept saying, "Oh, this is the same Sixers team, same Sixers team." This is nowhere near the Sixers team. The Sixers team had a bunch of old guys, slower guys. We have a bunch of youth and speed on this team, so that we used it to our advantage. We honestly thought that Abbas Almdars would do a better job of keeping up with us because they do have athletic players on their team and guys that can run. But I just think that our well-rounded team was just too much for them.
That's definitely fair. I mean, I think the biggest, most telling stats here, one of which, keep in mind, Farhan wasn't like playing through
He played
injury.
a little bit, yeah. I
I
give him
mean, he
props
hit
for
all the
playing
shots on
through
them.
it. Yeah.
Sorry, say again.
I give him props for playing through the injury that he had.
100%, 100%. And then it looked like they were relying a lot on Gamron and Mehdi kind of to step up. I mean, both guys had 21 points for Mehdi, 19 for Gamron. Gamron also had 12 rebounds. Mehdi had 10 rebounds. I think the biggest thing that I'm noticing with this Abbas Alamdar's team, HK is like non-existent. He's not like he was 0 of 6 shooting. He had one rebound in the entire game, one steal. Like he's not like he's irrelevant, and that's like a big difference compared to the Blazers last year, where he was definitely played his role as the third option very well. And then on your end, just by Huck, it looks like everybody just went off on this game on this team. The big things were you actually went 6 of 8 and then 2 of 6 from three. Ended with 20 points in the game, tied with tied with no Zulfikar for 20 points. Also, ZJ with 19 points. So ZJ is not even the main scorer on this team
I
anymore.
believe Ray also dropped in at 11 or 13 for us, so we had four guys in double
Yeah,
digits.
no, yeah. Ray looks like had 11. So
11,
very
yep.
well rounded. And I think that the one of the question marks was the big guys, but I think the big guys are playing their role. Like Asadbhai, he looks like he's getting right into it, playing his role.
Asad Bhai has improved significantly from what I've seen him from last season to this season. He's understanding the game better, and on top
Yeah,
of that, don't forget ZJ had 21 rebounds this game.
I was just about to say, ZJ, like he's
21
playing your fifth guy,
rebounds.
and he had 12 assists. He had a
Yeah,
triple double.
triple
Good
double.
job,
Yep.
ZJ. Oh man. So that's huge. I mean, like if you have ZJ basically playing any particular role on your team, that really opens up opportunities for you, Zulfi, Rehan, like basically the rest of your team to step up and, capitalize where they're the best. And I think if Jezebel continues to keep playing this way, then they definitely can end up like third, fourth, fifth in the league. By the end of it.
I just want to say one thing.
Go ahead.
3 weeks into the season, we're number 1 in 3-pointers made. We're number 2, I think, in assists. We're number 1 in rebounding, and I think we're number 1 or 2 in steals also. Something like actually no, we're number 2 in steals, number 1 in assists. So for all those people that were talking all that smack about our team, we're coming for you guys.
There you go. They are ready. They are ready. All right. Well, moving on to the next game, we got the Sadiq Scholars and the Mehdi Mercenaries. This one I remember watching, and at this point, we probably should have done this like 2 weeks ago when all the games were still fresh in my mind. But I just remember that the Mehdi Mercenaries, they had this one. I think they were. It was a close game if I remember. Yeah, it was 66-62 was the final. And I just remember watching this and I'm like, oh my god, these guys are blowing this game. They should absolutely be winning this. And there's a number of times where I feel like the Sadiq Scholars capitalize on fast break points, and the Mercenaries just their slowness on defense was evident, and that's kind of what screwed them over in this game.
So I actually watched most of this game when it happened, and then I rewatched it on YouTube since we're playing Sadiq Scholars tomorrow. This was one of those games where maybe Mercenaries, they went down double digits early, but then they came back and made it a game. They found a way to make it a game. And like you said, I'm pretty sure they had the lead at one point with like 6 minutes left.
Yeah.
So I feel like this should not have been a close game. I feel like Sadiq Scholars, like you said, should have just outran this team from the start, but they didn't. And Mehdi Mercenaries, they were just lurking around. They almost came back and won. So I think that I think this was a devastating loss for Mehdi Mercenaries because I think Celtic Scholars are one of the better teams in the league. So if they had gotten this one, I feel like the morale of the team would have been a lot higher. I'm sure it is. They're still looking for positivity in the team, but if they had beaten this team, they would have been a lot better.
I think some of the key stats for the Mercenaries to recognize is one, Mudassir finally getting his role being played. He was 4 of 10 from 3, and also had two pointers on top of that, ending with 16 points. Thorab, I think, had a key stat here that was 6 assists. So it's a lot of times you just see Thorab trying to go in against 3-4 guys and trying to make a play happen, and it doesn't work. But he led his team in assists, and I think that was huge. He still ended up leading his team in points, and he also led him in steals too, with 5 steals, 25 points. And then I think Professor. I mean, maybe it wasn't his best game. He was still did pretty well, 4 of 10, and then nothing from 3-point, but he went 8 of 9 from free throw, so that was huge. So I think that the Mercenaries definitely they get every week. I feel like they're getting better, and I feel like it's only a matter of time till they start picking up those wins. Sadiq Scholars, they were led by Razan Ahmad, who was 7 of 14. Irfan, as usual, going nuts, 4 of 5, 2 of 4 from 3-point. Basil very secretly became a 3-point shooter. Like I don't remember when that happened, but he was 2 of 3 from 3-point also. And then the other big talking point is Ehsan Faraji. He was 6 of 12. So he played really well. He had 5 rebounds only. I thought he had more than that. And then Basil had 9 rebounds. So I don't just all these guys that went very under the radar, just playing very well and giving Sadiq Scholars an opportunity to be a top team.
Yeah, I think that a lot of these teams, I think, because we have more teams and the talent is a little bit more spread, so now we get to see some of those other guys that maybe were like 4th, 5th, 6th options on their team starting to be those third guys on the team that have to step up. So that's one thing I really like about this coming season, that we're getting to see more talent throughout the league.
That's for sure. That's for sure. Yeah, I mean, it's becoming very evident like who's playing very well and who's not playing as well. All right. I don't know. This started glitching on me, and here we go. Okay. So now next game, Enlightened Elite versus the Najawans. The name to remember here, in my opinion, Ali Javad Varsi. Ali Javad Varsi, out of nowhere. Hold on. Is this right? Maybe I was looking at the wrong stats last time. Okay, you know what? Never mind. Ignore what I just said because I was clearly looking at the wrong stats before. The name remember is definitely Sean Cosme. 9 of 19. He was 9 of 13 from free throw. He had a total of 27 points at the end of this game. And then with his most backup was from Kumail, but then also Ali Jawad with 9 points as well. And a big name to remember here, Sif Chaudhary, 7 points. That's the most he's scored in one game compared to all the points he I think had in the NJSSL to this point. So good job. That's exciting to see from you. On the Najwan side, 4 of 24 from Ali Mirza. That is crucial as
Yes.
to not
So
lose.
I was watching this game. I was going back and forth between this game and the other game that was going on. Adil and Ali Mirza could not buy a shot. This was probably both of their worst games in the history of this league. So
Yeah.
I think them both playing out terribly is the reason they lost. Shout out to Sean and Komelbai for stepping up big time. Both of them, they went from being the second, third guys to the first and second guys, and I think that Sean. Every time I looked over from the other game, Sean was making a play. Komelbai was making a play.
Yeah.
So shout out to those guys. This was a great win by them, and I'm sure that this game is going to show Shahrukh that he can rely more on those guys. He's not going to have to do every single thing. So I think
100%.
that was huge for them.
100%. Yeah, no, I definitely agree. And actually, I didn't even say the stats properly for the Najwans. Ali Mirza was 4 of 24 from two, but an additional 2 of 11 from three. Adil was 2 of 8 from two, and an additional 2 of 12 from three. So, like you said, couldn't buy a shot if they wanted to. They did obviously lead their team in points, with a little bit of help, from looks like Adnan and Ali John Ali Musavi. But like, this an ugly game. They're gonna want to forget this, pretend it
Yeah.
never happened, come back strong this week, and see if they can recoup and regenerate and become a winning team again. All right, let's do Sabrazana versus the Vilayat Warriors. So for this game, it looks like the final score here was 57-50. The big name, again for the third week in a row, in scoring wise, was Muhammad Razan Namazi with 25 of the 57 points, with 14 points from Bobby Ali Rizvi, and then 10 points from Abbas Haider, third. He also led the. Sorry, no. Big shout out to Ali Ahmed Shah with 15 rebounds, and then who also had 6 points to his name. On the other hand, for the Vilayat Warriors, the big names to shout out here with 16 points and 15 points was Fitros Nasser and Said Ali. And then a measly 8 points, 4 of 7 for Mazahir. It was third on that. So I mean, it's interesting. I mean, I feel like Mazahir has definitely got to take more over the ball more because he shouldn't be only shooting eight times in a game. You know. But I don't know if you got a chance to watch this game.
I think I watched the first half of this game. Um, I I did watch it actually. Yeah, and I remember Morez scored like the first 12 points, or whatever it was. I remember now. I mean, like I said, I think Sabr and Zainab have one of the best big threes in the league with Bobby, Abbas Heather, and Morez. Like any one of those three guys can take over a game. I'm surprised Abbas Heather only had 10 though, but that's because Morez went off this game.
Yeah,
And as
he
far
didn't
as
play very well. He went 1 of 8 and then 2 of 5 from three.
Mhm. I want to give a shout out to Shah. Shah, when he was drafted on this team, he said that he was very happy that he finally does not have another true big on his team. So now he can get all the rebounds, and clearly he did get all the
Now he's doing
rebounds. So shout out to Shah. And as far as Vilayat Warriors, like you said, Mazarba, I think, has to take more shots. I think that they just need to figure out how to play as a team because they don't have that true number one. So this team is going to come down to getting their chemistry down and out hustling teams. I feel like they have some gritty guys, but as far as scoring, they need to find a good balance because it's not going to just come from one guy or two guys. They need to be well rounded.
Yeah, 100%. And I think they'll just have to figure out how they're gonna do that. Because I remember when we were playing this game, some of the guys I was expecting to kind of make a bigger splash, but kind of just fell short. Was like Rayon. I feel like he had a few good opportunities to like step up and be deserving of like that fourth pick and that starting spot in the lineup, but he fell short a few times. And then I don't know, man. Like I think this season has also been just rough for Fitz. Like I just don't know if he's going to be able to put up the same numbers that he did last season. I think in the end he was. And he did, this definitely was his best game. He was 7-11, but he was 0-6 from 3, so like that's not going to help.
I think I love Fitty. He is a very good player. He just plays too casually. I'm watching him play. It feels like thinks he's just playing for fun. Like
Yeah,
I
he's
know,
got no
yeah,
fuel to the
yeah.
fire.
That he needs to add. Yeah, that's what it is. He has to be fired up and play with aggression. I feel like.
Yeah. Maybe going down 0-3 is what he needs to like come back and just
Yeah.
like, play his heart out. All right. We'll move on to the last game, which actually I don't think the stats are up for. It doesn't look like it, but it is the Guardians of Fudlik versus Commanders of Murtabak. What I can tell you is that the Guardians were up in this game. I think with a few minutes left, they were up by 6. Commanders of Murtabak tied it to send it to go to overtime, and then scored 6 points unanswered in overtime. I may have misrepresented how that actually ended, but it was something along those lines. But this was obviously a very close game. Did you get a chance to watch it at all?
Whose teams were these? I don't remember the
Yeah.
cat.
So Commander Murtabak is Rack's team.
And
So like
then
Rack, Yafa,
okay, and the
Abbas
other one
Akhtar,
was
and then
Saad.
Guardians Saad and
Okay.
Sajad Al-Kaisi and them.
I don't remember watching this game. Actually, I don't remember if I watched this game or not. I'm trying to remember. I don't think I did. I don't think I
Yeah.
got to watch this game.
Yeah, I think I only caught part of it. And like they were playing really well. Like, the Guardians were playing really well initially. And then I don't know. I don't know if they're just kind of getting gassed. I mean, if their main guys were like just putting too much pressure on themselves to dominate. I mean, they do have like a relatively well-rounded team, so I don't know what it is that they blew it. But the one thing you can't ever do is go against Abbas Sutter. He's on fire. Yafa as the big is going to be hard to stop. That combination is going to be deadly, and they showed it.
Yeah, I like the 1-2 combination of Abbas, Athar, and Yafa. They play very well together. I like it.
For sure. Well, the Commanders. Well, I mean, both these teams are under 500, so both of them are going to be looking to turn that around as we move into the Iron Peak half of the season. Any final thoughts on week 3?
It's been too long. I don't like
It's
this 2-week break.
Yeah, the break is killer because now I forgot all what happened in the games that I watched. But hey, that's okay. I think we got a couple weeks in a row, right? So hopefully
Yeah.
next week will be better. But speaking of next week, so here upcoming in the first of the games coming up for Iron Peak, week 4. Let's do some predictions. So the first one we have Shujata Eliasgar versus the Commanders of Mujtaba. Who do you think is going to take this? This is going to be a close game, especially if they
This
have an
is
entire.
I like this matchup because it's gonna be AA versus Abbas Athar and then Yafa versus Daniel. Oh, I think AA and Daniel are gonna outlast Abbas Athar and Yafa. I think it's gonna be close, but I'm gonna go with Shujat Ali Asgar and AA, Miz, and Daniel.
So I would normally do that too, except I'm looking at the refs for this game, and we've got
Refs
Han.
are playing into a factor now.
Yeah, it's always a factor. Han Farhan, Mustafa Razan, Mehdi Joffrey as the intended refs, and Mustafa Razan got into a little scuffle last week with Shuhad Eliasgar. So I feel like he's going to look to exact his revenge. Hopefully not, but I think because of that, the Commanders of Mustafa are going to take the victory due to some interesting ref calls.
Yeah, we'll see. I definitely think it's gonna be a good close game.
Yeah, and I think Abbas out there, I'm looking for him to get at least 30 points in this game. I mean, AA is
Yeah.
going to do a really good job of keeping him, trying to shut him down. But I think I don't know, man. You should never go against that guy sometimes.
Yeah, he always plays with a chip on his shoulder.
Yeah. That's Fiddy. You listening? That's how you need to play, my boy. All right. Next we got Guardians of Fadak versus Goliath Warriors. So both of these teams 0-3. Both of them looking for their first win. Um, I've gone with Guardians of Philly basically every week so far, other than maybe once. And I think that this week. If again, I don't know if they're going to have all their guys. I hope so, but if they do, I think they can finally put together a win. If not, I think maybe Velayat will end up taking their first.
I agree with you. I think Guardians of Feather will win this game. I think on top of them just being better skill wise as a team, I think that looking at these two teams, Saad, Sajjad, Asad Bhai, they're a lot bigger and stronger than Velayat Warriors. So I think Velayat Warriors are going to be out rebounded heavily in this game. I think that's going to play a huge factor. So I
It's
think
an interesting theory coming from your team.
this game I think might be a blowout just strictly based off of the size difference and skill difference. So I'm going to go with Guardians of Feather.
It's interesting coming from Jezbai Huck, that everyone thinks is undersized, and yet still somehow make it work. But it'll be interesting. Let's see. Speaking of Jezbai Huck, they're going to be against the Sadiq Scholars this week. Certainly, I'm assuming you're going to go with your own team. I think I would also go with Jezbai. They've been playing really well. Again, if I don't think. I mean, this is going to be the most interesting thing here is going to be the ZJ versus Irfan matchup. I think ZJ is going to, as his shirt as his jersey dictates, he's going to be better than Irfan this week, and we'll see what happens. But I think he's going to definitely be a big factor, and Jazba's going to come away with this victory.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like you said, I'm going to pick my own team. I think that we're just going to do what we keep been doing the whole season, play as a team, get that chemistry even stronger than it has been the last 3 games we've played, and just play a game as a team rather than just play hero ball like some people like to play.
Yeah. That's fair. That's fair. I think the one tricky thing for you guys is who is going to be the guy to stop Basil. Though I think if we'll see what your team's plan is, but I feel like you or like Zofi would be the right guy to stop him.
We'll find out. You'll find out tomorrow.
We'll see. You never, Basil, man, he's a wild guy. I gotta get him on the show. Then next we got Aqidat Muslim and Abbas Alhamdars. So this should be I mean, we'll see. This should be a good game, given that I'm assuming Farhan's not going to be playing.
There's a rumor going around. Somebody might be replacing Farhan. I'm not going to say the name because it's not confirmed, but there is a former All-Star who might be replacing Farhan, possibly.
That's fair. All right, well, we'll see. I mean, if that's the case, I think you got to go with the guys who at least won a game. So I would go with the Bats Alhamdars. But I'm anticipating this is going to be the Muslims' best game of the season.
That is so. This is HK's team versus
Faisal.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna, even though Abbas Amdar is gonna be without Farhan, I just think they're a better overall team than Aqidat the Muslim. This is gonna be a gritty game. I'm gonna say that. I feel like without Farhan, HK's team is a little bit more sloppy, but I think they are gonna at the end find a way to win it, just because I think they have better talent as a whole on their team.
If HK can step up and play like he's supposed to be playing, I think that this should be fine. But if not, I think it's going to be a close game. And honestly, who knows? I'll still give the win to Abbas Almdars, but who knows? Then we got Mehdi Mercenaries and the Enlightened Elite. Oh boy, Sharuk or no Sharuk? I think this is probably going to be a relatively one-sided game. I think I'm assuming Sharuk's going to be there, so I'm going to give this to Enlightened Elite. I don't see anybody defensively being able to handle Sharuk.
Yeah, that was the weakness of this team, was perimeter defense when Mudassir drafted this team. I think if Sharuk plays, Line Elite will win. But if Sharuk doesn't play, I think Mehdi Mercenaries will win, because if you watched the Lion Elite game against Sadiq Scholars, Lion Elite did not have their big man Kumail Bhai, and they played a zone with Sharuk playing in the middle. I don't know, in the down low in the middle. I don't know if that's how they're going to play Mehdi Mercenaries, since they have bigs on their team. But regardless, if Lion Elite have Shark, they will find a way to win this game. And the one way Mehdi Mercenaries can win this game, even with Sharuk, is they need to not let Sharuk take over. They need to find a way to not let him just take over completely and just contain him. You're never going to fully stop Sharuk. You're never going to fully stop ZJ. You're never going to fully stop AA. You have to find ways to contain them, keep the game close and just grind out a win.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I think that they're gonna find a way to, like, I think Shark's gonna find a way to get somebody fouled out of this game the way that
It could happen. Yeah, I won't be surprised. He knows how to draw fouls and he knows how to get to the line.
That's true. That's true. And so we'll see. We'll see what the Mighty Mercenaries can do to put him, in check. Then finally, we got our last game: Sabra Zainab versus the Nojavans. Sabra Zainab is definitely hoping that the Nojavans play similarly to how they did last week. But the Nojavans, I'm sure, are looking to let all the fire from that they meant to put against the elite out against Sabra Zainab and show that they can beat a 3-0 team. With that being said, I think Abbas Haider, he's ready to go this week. He's like he's in the zone. Bobby's in the zone. I think we're gonna take this one, and it's gonna be a close game, but I think we're gonna hold them.
Yeah, see, this is the thing with Abbas had to fall into Bobby. Like, even without Morez, I like you guys. I know the Adil and Ali Mirza are gonna come back with vengeance and show that the game they had 2 weeks ago was just a fluke. But I think Sabr Zainab is a very well-rounded team, both offensively and defensively. I, I don't want to say I have a feeling it might be a double-digit win for you guys, but I'm kind of getting that
I
vibe
don't know
right
about
now.
that. Oh my
I
goodness.
just feel I like your team's defense. I feel like you guys have the most depth on defensive side of the ball. I feel like you guys can throw a bunch of people at Ada and at Ali Mirza and just tire
Yeah. I
them
mean,
out.
they're gonna try using their speed. And I think our defense is built to basically prevent guys that are too fast from getting easy looks.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that.
So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. It's going to be an exciting week 4 at Iron Peak. The NJSSL is definitely heating up, and I'm expecting everyone to bring the fire this week.
Yeah, I can't wait. 2 weeks of a break is too long. I think we have two games and then 2 weeks in a row where we have games and then another bye. It's just I hate bye weeks. Let's
Yeah,
let's let's do no more bye weeks after this season.
1 week by is okay, but 2 is definitely a
Yeah,
lot.
yeah.
But hey, the fire is going to be back tomorrow, and
Oh
it'll be
yeah,
good.
it's
All
gonna be
right.
fun.
Any final words, final predictions, final thoughts?
Uh let's see. I mean, like I said before, I feel like this season because we have more teams, we're starting to see other guys step up, which I love. Which is
Yeah,
just showing that people who might have not played well the last couple of seasons, they're ballers. They're not just role players, but they're key players that know how to play basketball and know how to get the job done. And I'm happy that we're seeing that.
yeah, 100%, 100%. A lot of guys that are stepping up and making it happen, and we're only going to see more and more of it. So it's going to be an exciting rest of the season, and we'll go from there. Well, thank you again, Haider, for being on, and I appreciate it. I was trying to get both Amadali, I was trying to get Zan Mumtaz on, but we just couldn't get a time that worked for everyone. But it would have been nice at some point to get all the 3-0 teams on. But maybe next week, if they're still 3-0, we'll see what
Yeah,
happens.
we'll see.
But inshallah, we'll have you again on soon, and inshallah, look out for another episode of the Cutting Redge next week after week 4.
Thank you for having me. Like always, it was fun and good luck to all the teams week 3 or week 4, I should say.
Yes, sir. It's going to be a good one. All right, guys. Until next time, take care, Shabbat khair, and inshallah, we will see you tomorrow.